so excited to meet you, and I can't wait. We love you.
We're excited. We're excited to add more chaos to our family.
That's what I want to hear. Say hi, Daddy. We gotta get you cleaned up. We're gonna measure her and give her a little bath.
Has she had like amniocentesis and those kind of things?
Did she have any genetic testing during the pregnancy?
And I remember I had my video camera out, and the doctor turned and said, "Have you had any genetic testing?" And I knew, and I fell over.
In 1972, my husband and I were blessed when we gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. But 24 hours later, our joy turned to shock when the doctors explained to us that she had been born with a visual impairment, and her vision would range anywhere from less than normal to blind. I was an educator at the time, and so I knew that the first 6 years of life are the most important learning years we ever experience. And so I, along with another mother, began searching the Tulsa area to find services that could provide the early intervention our little girls would need. But it was to no avail. There were no such services available. Toward the end of our search, a well-meaning pediatrician said to us, "Ladies, if you want this center, you're just going to have to build it yourselves." It was at that point in time that I knew we only had one direction to turn, and that was to God. And so, with a dream and a prayer, we took a giant leap in faith and dared to believe God for a 20th century miracle. 5 months later, we had our miracle, when the doors to the little lighthouse opened in a small frame house to 5 little children. We had 5 volunteers and 1 very dedicated teacher. But that was the beginning, and the rest is history. Today, the little lighthouse stands as a living testimony to the power of God at work through an amazing community who has made it possible for us to continue for the past 4 decades offering quality, state-of-the-art, individualized, prescriptive services to very special children in a loving environment, all on a tuition-free basis.
I like to say that the Little Lighthouse today is not unlike the Mayo Clinic. It is the Mayo Clinic of early childhood development for special needs children.
The Little Lighthouse is similar to, say, a Mayo Clinic or a Johns Hopkins Clinic, which has all professional disciplines there, in that our team is here all day, every day.
I love the fact that the therapists come into the classroom and they work with her in the classroom. There's truly a keyword transdisciplinary approach for the students. Temple has an individualized plan. The therapists are all working together. They're working with me. They're working with her therapist outside of the school. That is huge. That means that everybody is working together to do what's best for Temple. And I know that if there was not a Little Lighthouse here, that wouldn't be the case for her.
Learning to deal with such extraordinary children is complicated. And so being able to take our child to people who have the credentials, have the licenses that they need to be able to address his specific needs is why we bring him to the Little Lighthouse. We have to feel absolutely certain that Eli is getting the best care and education that he can have.
The most amazing thing about all of this is that the Little Lighthouse charges nothing for the services they provide. They do not charge tuition for the children that come here. They do not charge fees for the training that they provide for other organizations around the world. And it all happens because of the wonderful people of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and their generosity.
If I could sit in front of all the donors, I'll probably be speechless, and it's because thank you just doesn't express enough, you know, how we feel about what they've been able to do.
One of the biggest factors for everybody is that it is at no cost to the families. You know, everybody does this for free. Everybody signs up for complimentary services, and that's just not, it's completely unheard of.
The services that they provide, if we were to have to go and pay for them ourselves, I mean, that would kill us.
The Little Lighthouse is impacting children beyond our doors, as thousands of college and university students are now relying on the Little Lighthouse for practicums, observation, and internship opportunities. In this process, we're able to impact paradigms and attitudes toward these children as these individuals begin to understand the potential of these children and become better equipped with interfacing with them. This same process is happening on a global scale as well.
In the international arena, people started hearing about the Little Lighthouse. People who work, organizations that work with children with special needs around the world. And they said, can we come and learn from you how you deal with children with special needs, how you work with children with special needs. I think maybe as many as 25 countries have sent delegations here. And in some cases, they have asked, could we send our staff to do on-site training in their countries. Our staff has been all over Africa, to Russia, and to China, training organizations around the world and how to minister and how to work with children with special needs.
At the Little Lighthouse, we're in a race against time. As I mentioned earlier, the first 6 years of life are the most important learning years we ever experience. And yet, sadly, more than 100 children are having to wait 2 to 3 years just to be enrolled at the Little Lighthouse. This means that we're losing 50% of the most valuable developmental years of their lives.
The Little Lighthouse is growing because there's need. There's recognition now that it helps, it's very important to get the assistance to the kids while they're very young. Mm-hmm. If you're waiting until they're toddlers or into their later years, you've waited too long. And it's much harder to give them the support, with regard to their development. Get them early, and there just aren't facilities for that. The Little Lighthouse does it, and they do it well. They do it right, and they do it every day. It's worthwhile.
Viviana is now 2.5 years old, and we have been on the waiting list really since about 3 days after she was born.
We were actually on the waiting list for 2 years.
He has been here on the waiting list for about 2.5 years.
Cadence was on the waiting list for just under 2.5 years.
It was about 2.5 years.
Almost 2.5 years.
This is it for these children. This is the best care, best experience that they're going to have. And to not allow a child or not have room for a child, which unfortunately with capacity issues is a reality, it's just very hard for me to see that. And I know if we can get the capital that's needed to get this new facility in place, not only will these kids have even a better experience and better care, but we're not going to leave any child behind.
I love the Little Lighthouse because they love my child. Yes. They love our family. We love them back. The definition of Little Lighthouse is love.
It's like the intersection of love and excellence.
And that it is not just a place where children with special needs are loved and cared for. It's a place where there's a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, and the child can be all that God wants it to be. Everything that's done is bathed in prayer, and it is God's divine intervention that is an equal part in the process at the Little Lighthouse.
For more than 4 decades, God has worked through the benevolent spirit of the Tulsa community to enable us to keep the doors of the Little Lighthouse open wide. This has enabled us to help countless children reach their maximum potential. But as you know, many more are having to wait years to be enrolled. Many reach the age of ineligibility before they're ever able to benefit from Little Lighthouse services. In short, that's why this expansion program is so vitally important to our community. Many have already embraced our expansion vision, but with such a great need, we are asking the entire community to prayerfully consider giving all that you can to ensure that we are able to provide services to even more deserving children.